Hey everyone, Flint Truth Channel. Hope everyone's doing well. Today we're going to talk about Matt Walsh, another gatekeeper, another sellout. Just like all of them, that I expose on this channel. Yes, he's got some great work exposing, the true history of racism and whatnot, and just he's got some good videos. Nevertheless, he's still a paid agent, a paid gatekeeper, there to, make you look the other way at certain things, keep you sidetracked, blind you to the full truth, although he's giving you some truth, lull you into the false sense of security, dull your senses, numb your brain, deaden your senses, cloud your mind. He wants you to bury your head in the sands on some things. Now, a lot of his positions, like I said, I agree with. He goes against all these leftists and these crazy Democrats and a lot of the evil, and I can appreciate and respect that. But what I want to talk about is he already had a contract before he was ever on YouTube. And that's how it is with these big YouTubers, with all these people just think, oh, people just really like their show and people just really subscribed and that's why they got a big show. No, they're propped up. Their subscribers are bought. Eventually, yes, people do start watching them and they do get a following because they're propped up so much. Every time you get on the front page of YouTube or whatever, they'll have a Matt Walsh video up there because of all the fake bots that have bought likes and whatnot, and the algorithm and how it works. Plus, he's pushed. And so, let's talk about this. Matt Walsh officially joined the Daily Wire as a writer and columnist in October of 2017. When the company launched the Matt Walsh Show on April 2nd, 2018, they hired him to be host. Because he was an employee, the company's leadership wasn't directly involved in his filming. So, as you guys can see, he was already hired. Sorry, I didn't go high enough. It says, yes, he was already working for the Daily Wire from day one. So before he ever was on YouTube, he was working for the Daily Wire. Matt Walsh officially joined the Daily Wire as a writer and columnist in October of 2017. And guess what? His YouTube show didn't take off until, 8 months later almost? It's all by design. These agents they prop up, they're Andrew Wilsons, these Tim Pool casts or whatever, these Ben Shapiro's, and I can just go on and on and on of all these, and they have either side, whether you look up to Andrew Wilson, the conservative side, or whether you look up to Brian Shapiro, the totally, leftist Democratic side, or if you just are in the middle, they got their gatekeepers too, or if you're independent, they got their gatekeepers there. I mean, they have every gatekeeper in every corner. They're well versed in the game, and I want you guys to understand that Glenn Beck, of all people, hired Matt Walsh. And as you guys know, Glenn Beck is not only a Mason, but he's a member of Skull and Bones. Here's the scoundrel himself, right? There's so many different pictures. If you guys are unfamiliar with him, I expose him. I have several videos exposing Glenn Beck on my channel. I believe I have almost 900 videos, so there's certainly a lot of videos for you to check out. But what do we see right there? The skull and bones, right? And why? Why the skull and bones? Well, it goes back to the Bible verse where it says, all men who hate me love death. So all men who hate God love death. They're obsessed with death. That's what the Bible says. Not to mention there's other occultic meanings, symbolic meanings and stuff, but it comes back down to that, the satanic gatekeeping shill hiring other satanic gatekeeping shills to, further the initiative. Here he is doing the Masonic diamond hand sign. It's never just one thing with these guys. It's You got to add up all the clues, all the red flags, and they all will expose these people. Because remember, they're not going to come out and openly tell you, hey, I'm a satanic, Masonic, Kabbalist, occultist, tree loving pagan, hippy dippy. That's just who I am. Free love, man. That's just what I'm about, man. I'm about for, just all these terrible things, man, and just supporting evil, man. That's what I'm for, man. Yeah, set me up to the top. That's not how it works. You got Slick Rick over here, and that's who's hiring Matt Walsh, the same guy who hired Alex Stein. So this is how much AI and Google goes to hide the real truth. So I was looking for the Glenn Beck wearing the skull and crossbones, belt buckle on his show, and it says blah 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 blah, and then you guys can read it, whatever. But then I'm looking for the picture of him wearing it, like. Come on, that's what I asked for. And it says, well, a direct photograph of Glenn Beck wearing that specific belt buckle on his show is not available in the public archive. Okay, well, let's go see. I can show you. This is a video that I made exposing Alex Jones and Glenn Beck 4 years ago. Of course, only 118 views and only 7 likes because my videos don't get context, or don't get views, excuse me. But as you guys can see right there, him doing the diamond hand sign, you can see all those skull and bones, pillows, and logos on his, and then he's got even the colors, the red and blue for witchcraft, for royalty, whichever you want to call it. There's, a lot of different things. It comes back to the occult and Satanism and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, let's play the video. So they don't have no screenshots of him wearing it supposedly, and I googled it and I googled him, and what comes up is usually his clothing brand and not the pictures that I have in this video. So if you guys haven't seen this video of Alex Jones and Glenn Beck exposed, go watch it. It's a great video. Some of you may not like the music that's in it, but go watch it. Like I said, not surprised that this satanic gatekeeper, unreal. So again, yes, he was already working for the Daily Wire from day one. Officially joined the Daily Wire as a writer and columnist in 2017 when the company launched the Matt Walsh Show on April 2nd, 2018, where they hired him to be a host. Because he was an employee, the company's leadership was directly involved in his filming setup. Exactly, and that's the whole thing with the car. It's to make you believe, it's to be, it's a grassroots ground setup. It's just some guy from his car that we went and hired. We went and found him, and, isn't he great? No, he was doing Kentucky radio in 2010. He was doing Delaware radio, then, and up until 2000, the end of 2013, 2014, when his contract ran out, and then he signed with who? Glenn Beck of BlazeTv, the same clown who's hiring Alex Stein and all these other people, the same people who Matt Walsh has worked for. Now he's working for Ben Shapiro. Surprise, surprise. In the Daily Wire, and supposedly, they're having a hard time staying in business and whatnot. So, who knows how long he's going to be working for them? Maybe he'll go venture out on his own. I don't know. Like I said, he does have some good work, where he's exposing the true history of like the Indians or the slave trade, and he exposes the truth about all this lies that are being spread. So I do appreciate that, and I can appreciate that, but we need to understand that he's a gatekeeper, and he was put there to keep you from getting real truth. The people that were going to give you real truth and expose all these free Masonic things and fraternities and these cabals and these witchcraft things, and people like us who were going to, nope, we got to suppress them. We got to have our algorithm not ever let the truth be seen. And so I wanted to share this with you guys because I thought it was important. You know, they did the whole car setup, even though he was backed by a media network. Walsh began recording the show from his car out of necessity for a quiet workspace. Now, that makes no sense. If he was backed by a media network, I'm sure they would have a studio or somewhere for him to record from. He wouldn't be have to do it from. I'm sure there's somebody's got a basement somewhere, a basement studio somewhere that he could have been using, but instead he went for his car. Like, that was the whole reason, because it was part of the numb your brain, deaden your senses, cloud your mind, bury your head in the sand, blind you to the truth, lull you into a false sense of securities, dull your senses, make you look the other way, sugarcoat reality, throw you off their scent of the truth, the true truth. So I wanted to share this with you guys. Even though he was backed by a media network, Walsh began recording, or I'm sorry, the executive likes the low budget aesthetic so much that they insisted he stay in the car, making it his signature set. No, it's just that was the way that they knew they were going to sell it. They knew that it would sell, it would boast his credibility among the people as being sincere and being legit, and being a real person they can trust, by someone. Oh, this is the guy who just started off in his car, making videos, ranting about politics or this, that, and the other, and he just worked his way on up. The American dream, hard work, and that's not the case. He, as you guys can read right here, he was backed from day one by a media network. It was only when the Daily Wire packed up its California operations and built a new corporate headquarters in Nashville in late 2020 that he transitioned into a permanent soundstage. And isn't it kind of ironic that that's when he went and did the whole Alex Stein board meeting, interrupted the board meeting and all that type stuff? So very similar. They both kind of got popular and prominent by the whole board meeting, the media pushing them, by COVID, because he went in during COVID and was against the masks, and he stood up against the school board and blah, blah, blah. He did it twice, and he got all this recognition from it. The same thing Alex Stein did, and guess what? They both work for Blaze Media TV, hired under 322 Glenn Beck, Skull and Bones. And again, if you guys want to know where that comes from, it's Genesis 3:22. And it says that all who hate me love death. And I'm paraphrasing it because I haven't read the Bible verse in a long time, but something along those lines. So you can. That's why you always see these occultists and these Satanists and these people at Halloween. That's why you see the skeletons and the skull and bones, and they love death. They're obsessed with death, and that's what the Bible says too. These Satanists, the same way. They're all obsessed with death and evil spirits and everything else. He's an agent. He's an agent. Leave no doubt. No doubt he's an agent. They're going to pretend like he went independent, but, he pretends like he comes from a cultural commentary from a traditional Christian perspective. And that's the thing. They push everyone towards this Mariology and these Catholic churches and these Orthodox churches that are basically Catholic anyways, and it's like, that's the whole point. They have their gatekeepers there so you don't get the full truth. They're not coming there. He's got all this access to all this stuff. You don't see him exposing Freemasonry and the rituals and all the stuff and blah, blah, blah. He's exposing the little things that they want him to, and a lot of it is just to cause controversy and strife. It's to get one side riled up against the other side, and that's what you'll notice a lot of this stuff is. It's just one side poking the other side to get the other side mad, and the other side pokes the other side, and it's just back and forth. And and like it says here, Blaze Media in early 2014, Walsh was hired by Glenn Beck's media network, the Blaze Now Media Network. Same people who hired Alex Stein, and like I said, they both came to fruition the same way through the board meetings. I mean, getting very popular. Obviously they were doing stuff beforehand, but they went viral and got popular and got all their notoriety after going to the school board meetings. And and look at what Alex Stein did. No other regular layman's regular day person like you and I would be able to walk into a school or a board meeting and get away with that. We would be dragged out by the police in handcuffs. So, staged, of course, but they're agents. Agent provocateurs, gatekeepers. For over 3 years, he served as one of the platform's primary written columnists. His articles on culture, family, and politics regularly went viral on Facebook and Twitter. Yes, I'm sure they did, and that's by design. I'm sure that was by the coincidence, not by coincidence, excuse me. I'm sure that was because of their algorithm and them pushing it. His contract with the Blaze ended in late September 2017. Days later, in October 2017, he officially transitioned to the Daily Wire. And you can connect all these people together, this Russian Vids, RV True, Jeranism, they all go on each other's shows, right? Alex Stein, the Blaze, and all this, right? They're all connected to these major media networks and these major media personalities that a lot of them are known to be connected to Skull and Bones, Freemasonry, the occult, witchcraft, you name it. They're a part of it, and it's proven. And it's just like people just put, oh, this person just randomly made it on YouTube because people liked them and, had some good things to say. They're articulate. They work their way up. That's not how it works in life. Nepotism, you know somebody, you're part of the family, or you sell out. That's it. There is no other way to get these jobs and positions, these titles, to get these high acting jobs and careers and gigs, and to be anybody successful, famous, or on television. They've sold out. I hate to break people's hearts by telling them the truth and pop their bubbles, but the truth is what the truth is. And there's all a connection between all these gatekeepers. And so be weary who you trust. That's what I'm saying.